We're good? Okay. Hey! Good morning! Welcome to Florida. We're still in Florida, and it's a beautiful day, nice and sunny. Welcome, and thank you for joining me on the adventures of Scotty Armstrong. Today, we are at Torreya State Park, which is in the panhandle of Florida, getting a little closer to the Georgia-Alabama border. We're not near the coast as much. We're starting to get a little higher elevation, as higher elevation goes in Florida, like 200-300 feet. But it's still a little hillier than usual. We are here for one particular mission goal, and that is the Torreya Pine. That is a critically endangered plant. This tree is part of the yew family, and it's got an interesting backstory, and it can only be found in a couple counties here up in the Panhandle going toward the Georgia border. It was one of the first plants ever to be introduced onto the Endangered Species Act back in 1984. So this area is definitely very unique. We're going to still probably see many of our usual reptiles, amphibians, birds, etc. I'm here at a trailhead. And literally, right before you start the trail, beware copperheads. We have yet to see a copperhead. They're one of the pit vipers of North America. They're not probably as lethal as an eastern diamondback or maybe a moccasin. I don't believe anybody's ever really died from a copperhead. Or maybe gotten sick, but that apart, we just need to be aware. They blend in very well. You don't want to step on them if there's foliage on the floor bed. They blend in very well. I had some great footage, past footage of copperheads, and they are a stunning little venomous snake. So we're gonna do. There's a trail loop here at Torreya State Park. There's actually one or two trailheads, and they got a nice little kiosk here telling me all the trails. We definitely want to stop by the Gregor House, which is near the water. We're right alongside the Apalachicola River, which divides Eastern time zone and Central time zone. Now, as we explore and we do our adventure, we'll hit highlights, different plants and animals, and maybe some cool fungi. But we definitely, at the very end, are going to stop and talk about the Torreya Pine. While we still have it, hopefully we can keep that still going. We want to keep as many species as we can in the biodiversity of the world, and Torreya Pine is right up there as one of the ones we want to make sure we can pass on to the great grandkids. All right, so beautiful day, great weather, probably going to get in the mid to high 80s by the afternoon, so we got to get rolling before the sweat really starts rolling. So I will see you again when I see something that is definitely camera worthy. So see you in a second. Okay, that's kind of like cheating, but now we know what kind of oak it is. Ooh, nice and sunny. So, I was reading the sign over where I started. It was a plaque, a really nice one, about Hurricane Michael. Torreya State Park, along the Apalachicola River, like other places and parks and people with property, they got nailed by Hurricane Michael in 2018. It devastated this area. It was the strongest hurricane the Panhandle has ever seen, and it's the fourth most powerful ever hit the mainland United States. And this is all the information from the plaque. They showed a before photo of how lush this area was, the canopy top, and how it all was before Hurricane Michael. And then they showed the after picture, and it looked like somebody took a large cleaver and just sliced all the canopy off. Now that's about 3 years ago, so there has been regrowth, but I was not back here at this park 20 years ago, so I can't compare. For the people who live in this area, it still must be a historical shock to them. It's a shock from when they were a child to now. But what's amazing is when we see the Gregory House, it was made in the 1840s, and it did well. It probably got a little bit of damage, but it stood. Whereas structures from the last few decades, unfortunately, people's homes and whatnot, they did not. So it's just kind of a testament to maybe how things were built back in the day, or just sometimes it's a little bit of just good luck, bad luck. But like many areas here in the Panhandle, they are still rebounding from Hurricane Michael. Hurricane Michael just kind of went through the news real fast, but it was definitely very impactful for the people in this area. They went with weeks without power, and you know, had to deal with the rebuilding. So I just think we should just bring attention to that. When people get devastated by a big natural disaster, you know, we should give them more attention. We can't just give New Orleans or Houston or New York City all of our attention. We got to remember the more rural areas, because you know, those people have lives too. They have property and they have memories of growing up in an area too. So I just wanted to bring that up because I've already seen a plaque that mentions Hurricane Michael. And as I've been talking, a stink bug just literally landed on me and is exploring. A big stink bug. There he goes. So I'm going to show a photo of that at the end. It was huge. Just landed right on me. It was just like, what you guys doing? But anyway, Hurricane Michael, look it up, 2018. It was a Hurricane 4 that just shot up to a Hurricane 5 within like just a few moments before landing hitting you know, continental United States. So it just shows you. I mean, like, you never know who is putting what in the news. You know, giving that much attention. So I don't want to get into all of that, but we can't forget about what happened here with Hurricane Michael. It's history. So to have that plaque there, people can always remember. They'll never forget that there was, you know, a different appeal, a different look, an aesthetic to this area that is going to have to take a lot of time for them to get that back. It'll come back. The trees will grow back a lot of the canopy that was lost. But anyway, I had people in my life affected by Hurricane Michael, and many other people, obviously, in the Panhandle. And I'm not saying anything about New Orleans or Miami, New York. I mean, when they get hit by a disaster, I feel bad for them too, because I know what it's like to go through all that. But it's just, we should just give everybody the same coverage, if I'm throwing out my 2 cents. But yeah. Okay, beautiful trail. I love it. This is way hillier than down near the coast. We got a grate here. Yep, we got a grate. But we just got to keep our eyes out. We might see some box turtles. We might see a copperhead. We're kind of getting close to the timber rattlesnake zone. I don't think they'll be here, but you never know. We got to go a little more north and we start getting into the canebrake timber rattlesnake. If I was just in the Alabama border, Georgia border, I can start seeing maybe a little bit of the timber rattlesnake, which is different species from the eastern diamondback. The pattern, where they live, elevation, all that. Might see some dusty, or I'm sorry, just your standard pygmy rattlesnakes. You don't know. We might see another boar. We might see deer. Be cool to catch whatever we catch along the trail. But we're definitely going to see that Torreya Pine at the very end. But I just wanted to chime in on Hurricane Michael. I've chimed in now a couple times. I'm just walking the trail, talking into a camera. Okay, so I will save my battery and I will catch you guys when we do get a confirmed interpretation. Here we go. So there's a really colorful flower that is all over on the trail, and they're starting to bloom very heavily right now, and that's this purple flower right here. And they are all over. A blazing star, dense blazing star, and there's a variety of species from that genus. I don't know if you can see very well, but they are all over. So the blazing stars are in the biggest family of plants, and that's the Asteraceae. So that's gonna be your sunflowers, your grasses. So huge family. There's more species in that family than in that order than any other. So in the plant kingdom. So angiosperms, they have flowers, they bear fruit. So compared to like a gymnosperm, which would be more like your pine tree with a cone, it's different than an angiosperm, which is like your flowers, your oaks, your flowering bushes, and there's just so many. Gymnosperms, if we're going back in history, the gymnosperms were first, and then the evolution that moved on after that would be the angiosperms, which have been extremely successful, if not the most successful plant group. But I've been looking at all this blazing stars that are decorating the trail. So I just wanted to give them a shout out. So go blazing star, dense blazing star. It will be in the species list. So every episode I try to put the down in the description all the species that I saw and were able to identify. And there's plenty that you can see behind me that I may not have mentioned. And then, you know, if you notice them, you can definitely, and I missed it, put it down there. Make a comment. Hey, you didn't mention that yada yada and that doo 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 doo. You know, just get involved. All right, let's keep looking. We got our first arachne of the morning, and this is a beautiful orb weaver. It's a Spinyback Orb weaver. Looks kind of like a weird crab. Do you see this guy right in the middle? Yep. Yeah, he's white with little thorns, little spines along its abdomen. Wow, look at this orb weaver. This is a huge, huge web. Wow. He's going from over here on this tree all the way down to that tree. And then he's spindling up to this Southern Magnolia leaf. Wow. I'm going to go around and spare this guy's construction, because if I kept walking on the trail, I'm going to destroy his web. But wow, look at that. That is a good-sized web. So if you're in Florida or in the South, and you're on an RV, a four-wheeler, and you're going real fast down a trail, very good chance that you have probably swallowed some of these guys or had these smack your face, because I have had so many webs plant me right in the face when you're going down a trail. And this is one, just like the golden silk orb weaver that we saw at Conservation Park. This is another one of those that makes those huge webs. Wow, I'm trying to get, there you go. Oh yeah, it's a good sized web. Very common arachnid. He's probably like, what are you doing this early in the morning, dude? It is a Saturday. Leave me alone. Anyway, very awesome. I always like seeing them. They're very interesting looking arachnid. All right, we got to keep going. Hey, well, we got a lizard sighting. It's on this tree. It looks like possibly a broadheaded skink. Let's see if we can get this guy on camera. I think he's out of here. It was a big one too. He went right up the tree. That was that lizard that has a very similar convergent evolution with the 5-line skink, which, man, I don't even know where, I can't even see him. Well, anyway, oh, no. Okay, anyway, so might have went down the hollow. So very cool skink, good size too, maybe 6-7 inches. Looked like a female because the male has the big red head, but the convergent evolution, there's very similarity to how both animals evolved to their final state. It's kind of like they use that blue tail when they're young for predators to nail. We talked about how it nails the tail, and then the lizard moves on, still alive. But the 5-line skink and the broadhead skink, their adult patterns are very different. So that's one of the ways you'll know you have. That's how you can distinguish them apart. There is actually a way you can also do it by counting scales. I was just reading about that. You can count the scales above their upper lip, and there is a scale difference. Rodule. Anyway, so very cool. Yeah, the upper lip scaling will tell you if you either got a 5-line or a broadhead skink. But I just saw a really good specimen. Didn't get it on camera, of course, because they're freaking fast. Skinks are fast. That's for sure. Snakes, if snakes need to try to get a skink meal, they need to be fast too, because they're never going to catch a skink being slow. That's why a lot of snakes go hunting at night when they smell them out. Or they just sit and wait for something to come by, and they use their lightning speed to get them. Oh, in the mid-range trophic level, I definitely enjoy the snake predatory. There's plenty of other really awesome mid-level predators. Now, what do I mean mid-level? Well, down the very small bottom, you got the really small stuff. Fish and frogs, and we're talking of vertebrates, and of course insects. And then as you work your way up the trophic level, that's the energy within organisms, you get into higher levels of predation. So you work your way into the snakes, and then the hawks, and those larger predators, and your bobcats and raccoons, and eventually your coyote and bear, and the big alligators. Humans are at the top. We're at the top of the trophic level when dealing with predators. Even though I guess we're technically omnivores. We eat both veggie and meat. Well, the scientists, I at least say that. It depends on who you're talking to. But so there's about roughly in a trophic system about 5 levels. So the sun starts us off. Energy comes down from the sun, and then our producers, our plants, they take that sun and they start making their tissues. If you know your high school photosynthesis from Biology 101, and how they make tissues using the sun's energy, start making sugars. It's a whole process. There's also some other things going on, like electron chain transport and a few other nifty little systems. But photosynthesis, you just get down to that, taking in the energy of the sun, and we start making sugars, and plants grow, and there's our producers. Then somebody has to start consuming. So we have like our first consumer level, which is going to be a herbivore, and they're going to start eating those tissues, and then they eat the tissues of the plants, and they poop it out, and everything is going through a circling motion. We have circles of nutrients going in and out. Sun starts us off, but then we have all this organic biotic matter dropping on the ground. Then those consumers, those first level consumers, herbivores, nice creek, they get preyed upon by that next level of consumer, and there might be a secondary level, or a tertiary, and then a secondary, and then a primary, which is going to be your apex at the very top predator, like your alligator. So now I gotta say, that was a very awesome little creek with a very awesome little convenient bridge, which if I was a snake, I'd be living in there. But and at the very top, you've got your humans, and like I said, the apex predators and all that. There's about 5 levels. Now, from plant to the very top of the food chain, it might not be exactly 5. It might only be 3. It might be 6. But on average, it's about 5. And those trophic levels can be measured. And the energy goes through those different levels, working its way to the top. And then it's supposed to start off at the bottom, like, you know, the top predator dies, and we get the whole process starting all over. You know, I hate to go there, but, you know, circle of life. Hey, bird. Oh, pretty bird. Whoa. Okay, that is a big golden silk spider. Wow. Let's see how close I can get. He is totally blocking my way, so I'm gonna have to, unfortunately. Wow. That is a biggie. That one will fill your hand up, that's for sure. That's a big one. Wow. I'm not even that close with the camera. Wow. That's a granddaddy. All right, actually, I saved its web. I went underneath it. That's awesome. Look at that. Today's the morning of the arachnids. They're invertebrates. They're not vertebrates. They're invertebrates. Look at that golden silk. Whew. That's a big mama jama. Wow. Sure see a lot of them in the south. Okay. So, invertebrate. I got off tangent. We were talking about trophic levels, now we're talking about invertebrates. Invertebrates have their skeleton on the outside, and they make like 98% of the animal kingdom. Only about 2% actually have their spines on the inside. So we should definitely talk a lot more about invertebrates. I had a great course on that, and I was kind of going into vertebrates going, oh, they're bugs, jellyfish, yada yada. But they're actually a very interesting part of the animal kingdom. We should not forget that they're there. I mean, they make up the majority. They just don't get the same press that all the cool furry ones get, or the scaly ones, or the feathery ones. And I like spiders. Spiders are amazing. So amazing. They're such great adaptive species. Little organisms. And they are all over this trail. Okay, so we just saw a really cool arachnid. We got to see the golden silk and the spiny orb weaver before. But trophic levels. Yeah, so it's just really interesting how you're looking at that one bit of energy working its way up through certain organisms, and it's happening all over. All the insects, even the bacteria and the fungus and everything else that is going on here, is working. That energy is working its way up to the very top, and then it goes back down to the beginning. And it's happening on so many different chains. That's what makes up an ecosystem. You have all this energy moving through organisms, and then it gets recycled, and it's all happening at the same time. It's like really, really awesome. I like organisms. I like communities and populations, but I'm definitely a big picture guy, and the ecosystem to me is the big picture. And you have small ecosystems, like could be just this park, which is about 10,000, 14,000 acres, something like that. I think it's about 14,000 acres. Or you can have a huge community, huge ecosystem. How about the whole south of the United States, where the pine tree range, longleaf pine tree range used to be? Or how about the whole North American continent? That could be considered an ecosystem, and how it all is interconnected by various abiotic, wind and water and other means. And also it's biotic, all its different organisms migrating and moving back and forth. Or how about a global ecosystem? How different things on different sides of the oceans are impacting each other, and how energy gets moved through the oceans. So to me, the ecosystem studies are really interesting. You have to look at everything, all these different organisms. It's a whole lot of work, man. It's a lot of data collection. It's just a lot of putting it all together. And I was just thinking about this recently. It's like, how do you know if an ecosystem is doing well? How do you measure that? How do you know if you're going in the right direction, if you're trying to restore an ecosystem? What do you measure? Do you measure how much carbon and nitrogen is going through the system? Are you measuring how many different animals you have, the species diversity, biodiversity? Are you seeing how many ecosystem services are coming back, you know, how they benefit mankind? We talk about ecosystem services. So I think that's really interesting. So if you have an an ecosystem that is fragile or has been degraded and you're trying to build it back, that is such a big undertaking. It's one thing to try to rebreed a specific species, but if you're bringing back an entire ecosystem where you're dealing with dozens of animals, hundreds of plants, etc., what an undertaking. It's talk about needing a team effort here. But I like all that. And to tell you the truth, I don't think I'm in the county, in the state ecosystem studies type of guy. I think I am very global. I think what happens on one side of the ocean does impact the other side of the ocean. So I guess I'm coming out to you all right now. I am a global ecologist. I've said it. Okay. All right. Well, anyway, that was pretty cool talk about trophic levels. Definitely going to come up in the future. The energy does work its way up through various different means. There's plenty to talk about invertebrates. Vertebrates are courses and courses and courses. I mean, I had an invertebrates professor. She was awesome, Dr. Shillington. She's awesome. If you're ever up north, Michigan area, you have a professor named Dr. Shillington, tell her I sent you. You're going to have a great professor. But yeah, so there's a lot to talk about. I'm going to save the battery. Also, I need to take a lot of like spider webs off of my camera. It's totally covered in spider webs. All right, I'll catch you in a second. What a beautiful morning. I am sweating like crazy. It's already about 85 degrees and it's only 9 in the morning. All right, well, I got a poplar tree right here, and I noticed the leaves were very different. Now, this ground cover is very well covered, and this would be ideal for a snake to coil up, look for a sunny spot, and not move, like the copperhead. So you just got to walk through a trail like this very, cautiously. Be aware of where you step, because those snakes, the camouflage in these animals is outstanding. You can walk right by them, and if they don't make a noise, they don't kind of bang their tail, that kind of looks like, it feels like a simulation to a rattlesnake, you wouldn't even know it's there. And when copperheads do bite people, it's because they stepped on them. They had no idea that they were walking over an animal. There is a little bit of an orange, reddish pattern that I have come to be aware of, but even someone like me who's seen copperheads a lot up and down the eastern coast, you still, as you're moving and thinking about other things, you might miss it, and they might get aggressive, they might get defensive and take a bite, and we don't want that. So this is a really great trail. Just wanted to show how easy the ground cover gets thick. And it hasn't been a wildfire or prescribed fire in the area. Well, in this part, it would be a prescribed fire, which is really good, healthy for the maintenance of the parks, the woodland. How easy it is to just step on an animal. So, anyway, and we're out of the ground cover. So I just wanted to give that little notice. So we're gonna continue on. Really beautiful day. Definitely gonna be a hot one, but that is to be expected in even the first week of October in Florida. So I will catch you guys in just a sec. so beautiful, so very beautiful. Another gigantic spider web. Have been eating spider silk all day. Ooh, here comes a big butterfly. Looks like a swallowtail. Looks like, oh, nope, I don't think it is. No, it might have been. Oh, I think it was, it might have been an Easter giant. It was definitely, black and yellow pattern, but I don't think it was a swallowtail. Might have been. Might have not been. All right, keep going. Beautiful creek. Can't complain. If I do get oop, there goes a, looks like an anole. Looks like an anole. I see you. If I definitely have a confirmation for sure when I go back and look at the footage, I will put it in the description. If it was questionable because the video didn't capture it, I won't put it up. So the previous videos I have made sure that when I look back at the footage, everything that I saw and I confirm with other research sources, plus my own knowledge, it was my best interpretation of what I'm seeing. Oh, we got a little green anole. All the anoles are out. I think. There he is, right there, going down. Cool, so we just saw brown anole and a green anole. Okay. Anoleus carolinus. That will be on the description list. Okay. Oh my God, Scott, are you doing Latin? I thought you didn't like Latin. I'm getting better. We all are a work in progress. Work in progress. It's been a morning, but I'm kind of doing 4 things at once now. Kind of like the cameraman, the producer, the person, the host, the planner, all of this, the travel agent, all in once. So my brain might be catching up with me. I'm hoping by the time we get to Gregory House, my brain will be really here and I can, like, speak, sensibly. But yeah, we're all just a work in progress, and I'm doing my best to give you my interpretation. I believe so far I've been pretty accurate, and when I've caught myself being wrong, and I even talked about sometimes when you're wrong, it's okay to be wrong. Just go check your sources and learn. So the next time when you do see a Gulf fritillary, you can make the best interpretation you can. There's so many species out here. It's easy to get some of them mixed up. You come out and you keep experiencing this beautiful world of ours, and you get better and better and better. So, all right, to the Gregory House. Can't wait to see a Torreya Pine, also known as the stink pot pine, or the Florida pine, or the gopher wood. It's got a lot of nicknames, but the Torreya Pine is why we're here. I can't wait to see it. All right, continue on. We must continue on our brave travels. To the Gregory House we shall go. Well, we are leaving that lower creek bed and getting more into the higher wiregrass. Especially when you get into southern Alabama. You get a lot of wiregrass country. It's pretty though. You can see a lot of damaged longleaf pines. See how they're all blowing in one direction? Like the tree trunks are kind of leaning to the right. Well, they're leaning to the south. That's south. Because when the Hurricane Michael came through, the winds were coming from the north as the storm was spinning. So you'll see certain trees, particularly the longleaf pine, they're all bent over, cracked, going in a specific direction. And that was Hurricane Michael. I still think it looks better than I thought. It's even within a couple years, it's rebounding pretty fast. It'll take a long time because we know the longleaf pines, for example. I saw a lot of babies being planted on my way in here. but they take decades, 100 years to get to full maturity. So it's the start of a regrowth, but it looks better than I could have imagined. I could only imagine what it looked like the first few weeks, your first few months. It was probably pretty rough, but nature likes to do what it does, and it'll rebound. That brings me to a thought I was thinking earlier about mass extinctions and how life finds a way. I'm taking that from you, Mr. Dr. Ian Malcolm, you fictional character, you, played by Jeff Goldblum. There's a lot of talk in the science community about the 6th mass extinction that humans are humans are being blamed the culprit. And it's hard not to deny all the evidence that keeps piling up, even though there's plenty of deniers out there. And I'm wondering, how bad will it be? Because it's the 6th mass extinction. We've had 5 mass extinctions before now, and the earth finds a way. Life rebounds. Now, what I learned was after a mass extinction, it could take 10 to 30 million years for the biodiversity to return to a planet that became void of the biodiversity during some kind of event. Be it the possible asteroid that wiped out the dinosaurs, or severe volcanic activity 250 million years ago during the great extinction. But life rebounds. Now let me ask you this. If we do start our own 6th mass extinction, how well will humans fare when most of the biodiversity on the planet goes extinct? How will we be able to feed ourselves? We go out in the woods and you have empty woods. If there is a woods, you might go into a woods that only has a couple species of tree. But in the long run, let's say our species does somehow survive. Maybe we need to go to another planet because we made this planet inhabitable for humans. No longer a survivable habit for us. The earth will rebound. It will take time and evolution. For whatever that does survive, it'll be a small percentage. It will fill in the niches. That's one of our science words, folks, niches. It will return, not the same way, but those niches will be filled. It may take 10 million years, it may take 30, but the planet will bear life again. The one thing that's really going to make life inhabitable is when the sun expands to the size that they think it's going to, and it sucks the Earth in. Then that's it. Earth done. Supernova. But if an asteroid hits us or something, it would have to destroy the planet. The planet would have to be knocked out of its orbit around the sun, and we're no longer getting the UV we are getting, and plants cannot do what they do, and animals and so forth. But even if there is a 6th mass extinction, is that it for the life on planet? Now, I'm not hoping to have a 6th mass extinction. I like the species we've got now. They're really nifty. I'm a big fan. But I've pondered if humans are just another milestone in the history of this planet, very, very similar to the dinosaurs and their asteroid. Are all the species here that will go extinct, possibly due to human activity, and there's a lot of human activity? Are we just the asteroid? Are all these species the dinosaur? And is it time for us to move on or not? Well, I guess we'll be dead. But I mean, we have the ability to go to other planets. We're trying. But it's just, I've been thinking about that because that was something that we talked about in my classes. And I'm wondering, are humans doing exactly what we're supposed to? Our brains have taken us so far to manipulate, use technology, and change the world. We are the environmental engineers times 10 million. I mean, beavers do it on one level, but we take it to the new spectrum. I hope that we have a future. I hope that this is all still here and that we don't lose 60%, 70%, 80% of the biodiversity of this world. There is a percentage of the biodiversity that once it goes extinct, that is considered a mass extinction. I've seen different numbers, 60, 80, but it's enough that the planet will seem void. And as our human population keeps growing and we're overrunning the planet and not using the resources wisely, we're looking toward a mass extinction. So how do we prevent it? That's the next big question. And I've been thinking about that a lot. Especially because I look at the big picture. I look at global ecology. And humans are very much part of the environment. We are an animal. We're in the animal kingdom. So I've been wondering, is there a way for humans to reintegrate with the environment fully? And even still keep our technology, but do it cleaner. And are we able to do that on a level where everybody in the whole world, even with different cultures, different religions, different backgrounds, can work together as one race? Earthlings. I like that. We're all earthlings. If I say we're all Homo sapiens, I'm gonna get somebody with a joke. But earthlings, I don't mind that. Or for you, again, you Star Trek fans out there, or Terrans, whatever. But earthlings, we're of the humans, of Earth. I don't want to be like, you have to get rid of your technology. Technology is evil. Money is evil. But maybe we should have a change. Because when all this goes, when we do take ourselves into a mass extinction, it'll be too late. I don't care how much cloning they think they can do, because cloning's a real thing. They're even talking about cloning mammoths and animals that have been extinct for thousands of years. Cloning back an entire global ecology. So I would like to think I'm one of those folks. I'm still kind of young. I'm not like 18, but that can be the generation that can try to prevent that mass extinction. I don't know about the folks now, how many folks that are in their 60s, 70s, and 80s, how much they want to put in. They're in their golden years. I mean, I love that there's environmentalists and philanthropists out there that want to try to prevent the next mass extinction. But they have different concerns, and they were brought up differently too. I mean, when oil and all these other things we've been using were just totally kosher, totally fine. Now, we're telling all those folks that for years using all that oil really was having an effect on the environment. So it's really gonna be like my generation, the next generation. They're gonna have to grow up with solar power and electric power and being concerned about biodiversity and what we do and how much plastic we put in the ocean and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We need to teach our young people from day one about how important it is to keep your planet healthy. It's like keeping your body healthy. So I don't know. I think the older generation might just have to age out as they pass along to the next life, next world. I don't know how much they can provide, because I don't know how much you can teach an old dog new tricks type thing. There are plenty of folks though in that bracket that want to help the earth, but it's not I don't think it's a majority. So I was just thinking about it. I don't want a mass extinction. But when you think about it, the world will take care of it. The world will give us that biodiversity back. We probably won't be here in 10 million years, but I don't know. It's comforting, but also awful at the same time. Like, there's so many things that I have rattling in my brain when it comes to the science, the biology. I was just thinking about physics, about string theory. Anyway. Hey, you know the new Venom movie's out. Can't wait to see it. Venom, Let There Be Carnage. Totally left field, but I don't want people out there to lose hope that we can't save what we can save. There are a lot of people out there that are trying to put fences around preserves and protect whatever's inside. Even though I don't like fences, they're trying to do something. There are people trying to gather up what species they can and get them into breeding programs before they go extinct. Some are already extinct in the wild, and whatever's in captivity, that's the last best chance for that species. And they're trying. People are trying. And I think I'm out here with you. If you're watching me right now, this is the way I'm trying. We still have so much green to protect. There's so much out here that can still be preserved for generations to come. And I want to show you guys all of it. So, this is only episode 2. Talk to me around episode 200. All right, we got to get over to that house. We're eating up battery. Look at that big old hopper. Does anybody know what kind of grasshopper that is? I do. Want to give more of a shout out to all the plants that we have in this amazing park right here. This beautiful American beech tree. It's in the walnut family. Just those little things you don't notice down closer to the coastal elevations. You start getting in these higher elevations. I mean, again, higher for Florida. You start seeing different trees that are coming down off the southern Appalachian ranges. So I don't know. I think it's cool. It's like you go a couple counties over, and it's like whole new world. Anyway, okay, and tally ho. Did I mention poplar earlier? I meant tulip tree. This is the tulip tree. Look at that pretty leaf. It's in the nutmeg family. Very pretty. Also with the magnolias too. That leaf is, you know what it makes me think of? For all you Star Trek fans out there, doesn't that look like a Ferengi warbird? A Ferengi battleship? If you watch Star Trek, you know the guys with the big heads that can't be, their brains can't be read by the telepaths. So, this is the Ferengi tree. Very cool. Do you see it? It's this little guy. Right there. That's another one of those southeastern fence lizards. There he is. This caught my eye, this magnolia right here. This isn't a southern magnolia. This is a big leaf magnolia. They're related. But this species right here is threatened. So yet another good example of Torreya State Park protecting their plant species, because our Torreya Pine is critically endangered. So I just thought that was really cool. That it just didn't look like the normal southern magnolia. Anyway, moving toward our goal. These are blue curls. Aren't they pretty? You see where they get their name. They're blue and they're curly. They're in the mint family. Got a lot of mints around this area, like lantana. All in the mint family. Big family there, too. All right. See this guy? This is Sweet Everlasting. This is another example of an Asteraceae, in the family Asteraceae. Like our sunflowers and grasses and all the other. That's a huge family. Sweet Everlasting. Really pretty. Kind of like a light white color. And they are everywhere. Everywhere. Spinyback Orb Weaver right in front of me. Looks like it's got some prey. It is covering up in spider silk for a later time, storing something in the pantry. Very cool. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we made it. We are at the Douglas house. I am walking up the front door here. So this house goes back to, I believe, 1849, 47, when it was first built. Looks like a little restoration is being dealt with the roof. Makes sense. I mean, old house like this, 170 years, is always going to need some kind of repair. So what's really cool, I believe this was home of a preacher, and it's right along the Apalachicola River. So we get the awesome scenic view of the bluffs of Apalachicola River. So I am walking, oh, we got the park office right there and the gift shop. You can't have a Gregory home without a gift shop. But I love the bricks. The brick sidewalks are awesome, very old school, very southern plantation style. I love it. All right, here we go. Holy crap. Comes the scenic view. Check this out. So that is the Apalachicola River. The funny thing about all of this is we're currently in the afternoon. On the other side of that river, they're in central. They're in morning, afternoon, morning, afternoon. Very, very weird. But in Florida, in the Panhandle, the Apalachicola River will divide the two time zones. Ooh, it's a far way. It's a little bit down there, a few feet. Look at all these butterflies. Beautiful butterfly garden right here. All right, so we got the Douglas house, but to my left, I got a nature trail, and I love me a nature trail. So I got people chilling on the back porch and everything. Look at that view. That's the Douglas house. We're gonna come back and check it out, but let's see what we got down here. And I've already confirmed our Torreya Pine. Well, there's a couple of them with a sign in front. The funny thing is, I've used a couple identification apps, and they all think it's the California Torreya. But I guess it's if it says it's at least a Torreya, it's in the right ballpark. It looks like a yew. If you ever see a yew plant with little red berries, it has a certain type of short leaf. But these are the Torreya pines of Florida, or the Florida Torreya. So we've already confirmed it, and I'm gonna go back and I'll do one like really good interpretation on it. But there's a great little sign that talks about them and how they're endangered. And really, the only other Torreyas, genus Torreya, is in like China, Japan, and California. So for that one species to make its way to have evolved over here along the Apalachicola River seems kind of a stretch from its where the closest cousins are, but there you go. So I got a beautiful trail here. Look at this. Just walking along in Eastern Standard Time to the Apalachicola River. Yeah. That's right, folks. That was my time zone trail song that I just made up. That's a big tree. Big old pine right there. Woo. I feel like I can still smell it. Let's see where if the tree fell over. That Gregory house is beautiful. Blows my mind that it was able to survive a Class 5 hurricane. Looks like it hardly received any damage. I mean, I know they had a couple years to fix it up, but it looks just fine. for a heritage home. I got heritage homes back in my little town, and they're like 100 years old, and they look awful. They have a lot of work. I mean, some of them are okay, but some of them need a lot of work. Going down the Apalachicola River. Gonna sing me a song to get down and moving along to Apalachicola River. All right. Starting to look real tropical around here. Look at all this with the palm fronds. But on a serious note, I would like to thank the Florida Park Service for upkeeping such a lovely park. This is a beautiful park. I believe 4-time star winner for best parks in Florida. Way to go, Torreya. Well done. I did not see any staff today, but I did see a ranger residence. Oh, no, see it? Look at that cute little green anole, little baby. A bunch of babies I've been seeing too are fence lizards. Like 1-inch, 2-inch little fence lizards everywhere. I guess the mamas just finished up laying and babies hatching, and they gotta hurry up and get big before the winter. Well, winter for Florida. But yeah, this is a beautiful park. If you're ever in the Panhandle, little west of Tallahassee, definitely stop by Torreya State Park. I have hardly seen any guests here. On a Saturday, that's not too bad. Oh, that's beautiful. Look at that all. You saw the shelf fungi going up. Very cool. There are some state parks you can go to, and it will be elbow to elbow. A lot of the beach parks where people want to go get their tan on. But a nice, like, river park like this, with a heritage home and some very challenging trails. There was even there was even a trail that said, this is an arduous trail for trail hikers who like arduous challenges. The average hiker will take 6 hours to complete the loop. And I went, not today. But I just thought it was funny that somebody used the word arduous on a sign. I just, you don't see that too often. But stretch my jaw here. Yeah, I just think it's beautiful. It's so lush. We're right next to a river, so all this floodplain vegetation is well watered. You know you're doing good if you see a lot of vegetation, because you're probably getting near a water source. Vegetation near rivers tends to be pretty lush. But anyway, moving on. Awesome park. Ooh, that's a biggie. I do see a lot of trees where their top canopy, I mean, if you look up, the canopy is gone. All you're seeing is regrowth from Hurricane Michael, and just a whole lot of vines that worked their way up pretty much a stump. It's amazing. Oop, little garden spider right there. Boy, today's been spider day. I think that's our 3rd species. Oh, it's a beautiful day in your neighborhood. Beautiful day for trail hiking. I don't know. My mind starts to wander in the PM, like it didn't wander in the morning. Okay, I gotta say, I love animals, love plants, but I also have a soft spot for fungi. You know, they're who you want to bring to a party, you know, because they're fun. Anyway, so who are you bringing to the party? That fungi. Oh yeah, he's just awesome. He's always a blast because he's fun. Oop, toad. All right, but so anyway, let's not get off track here while we're trailing. Beautiful trail. We are so going downhill toward the river. So Apalachicola River splits time zones. Pretty decent sized river. When you get down to the very bottom of Apalachicola River, through the Apalachicola National Forest. Oh man, I got a ginormous lubber grasshopper. You see that moving? Look at that giant. Look at this guy. You see that? Look at that monster right there. Wow, that is a biggie. Georgia hopper. or it's a black lubber. Wow. And he is moving. Come here. Come to me, my child. Come. Oh my God, where'd he go? How can you miss that big giant? Oh, there he is. Come to me, Mr. Grasshopper. I want to just show the comparison for this thing. Look at this ginormous bug. Whoa. Okay. Look at that. And he's a feisty one. Look at the size in my hand, this lubber. Freaking locust right there. Wow. Yeah, so we got these lubber grasshoppers. We got these black ones too, known as the Georgia hoppers. They start off black with these little red and yellow stripes, and they do fly, but not really great. More of like a terrestrial. They're toxic. A lot of the predators have to they have to skewer them so their toxins drain out. Like birds, they'll skewer them and then come back when all the toxins are out and then dine on the carcass. Well, that was a cool, ginormous bug. Geez, I'm finding bigger insects today and spiders than I am of the vertebrates. Hey, when you're in the subtropics like Florida, you tend to find bigger insects than you do mammals. When it's nice and hot and humid like this, the reptiles, amphibians, and insects keep getting bigger while the mammals keep getting smaller. I got another lubber. All right, gotta move on. Where's the river? Beautiful trail, beautiful trail. Yeah, speaking of different climate norms for species, animals, the reptiles and amphibians, they tend to start getting fewer and fewer as you head obviously into the northern latitudes. Their size also kind of will tend to be on the smaller side, especially if you're looking at many species in comparison. If you head south, lower latitudes, hotter, more humid, you're going to find larger reptiles and amphibians, larger insects. Now, it tends to be the reverse for mammals. The more north you go, the larger the mammals. Like our biggest predatory terrestrial mammal in the world is the polar bear, and that lives right up in the Arctic Circle. Our brown bears, our really big deer, our elk, our moose, they live in really northern latitudes. Like the black bear and the white-tailed deer up north, they're much larger than the Florida black bear and the white-tailed deer or the key deer down here in Florida. So you kind of have an idea of where you are if you just look around. If you obviously you can't tell by how hot and humid it is, but if you start seeing ginormous insects, you probably have been dropped off in the world somewhere closer to the equator. And if you start seeing some ginormous mammals and the insects are maybe not there, or you don't see a whole lot of reptiles, most likely you're somewhere up in the upper quarter latitude range. Uh-oh. Look what I got here. This is the same thing we saw over at St. Andrews. It's the same type of sign, too. It's my favorite type of sign. Caution. Gator warning. Okay, well, let's be cautious, everybody. Gators! I love me some gators! We had a really good time at Conservation Park. Our gators were small. I showed you some stock footage of the 5-6 foot footer that I saw at Conservation Park. But on our adventure, we did see the babies. That was fun. Oop, got another one of those. I don't think that's a swallowtail. Let me see if we can get real close. Oh, I know what that is. Okay, we're back. We are right next to Apalachicola River. This is a little spring head that's coming off of it. I saw this amazing fallen tree with all its shelf fungus on it, and I just had to come on and show you what I see here. That is Florida swamp, man. Whew. I think I might have saw a turtle or a gator head poke in and out. Someone definitely saw me and like left a pretty decent ripple. But something about the water and the fallen trees acting as little bridges, it's just really beautiful. You can see all these grapevines everywhere, local grapevine. I see a lot of little mosquito fish everywhere. I was trying to say before the butterfly distraction, and I'll put the butterfly down in our description. The Apalachicola River heads down to Apalachicola Bay, where Apalachicola is, and going to the Apalachicola National Forest. A lot of oystering takes place. There's a huge oyster industry down there at the bay. So we definitely have an economy that's living off of. Plus, you know, you have your fishing and crawfish economy and all coming off the river. But there's definitely an oyster business that is depending on the river. So lots going on here, not just heritage and endangered species, but like aqua agriculture, and just a lot going on. And for the most casual visitor, a lot of this probably flies by them, but I like trying to absorb as much as I can about an area. So like, I think it's really amazing about the Gregory House, but then also the fact that it also serves as like an important conservational site. Plus, the Apalachicola River's got its own importance too for this whole area where it comes to bringing money in. So there's just a lot going on. So when you go on these adventures, we're going to try to think a little bit more outside of just like the biology. Let's think about it all. Let's think about the history and the economics and the social studies and everything else that's going on that comes together to make it our world. So, oh, here comes the sun again. So I got more trail. We'll use up whatever we got left on this battery. Be really cool if we can get some, we've got a lot of plants and we can get some fungi. It'd be really cool to get some specific animals, apart from the ones we've seen pretty common throughout our start of our adventures here. But, something a little bit more unique, on the uncommon side. Otherwise, we'll just, head back to the Gregory House and take our photos of, the video of our Torreya Pine and conclude there. I know I've probably come across 20 species of plant. But I don't want people to be like, oh, I just want this to be an animal channel. So like, let's also remember what makes up this woods is a whole lot of plants, trees and bushes and flowering organisms. So let's be open-minded to all that as well. Oh, look at this bridge. What a nice bridge. It's got a nice old rustic bounce to it. Nice. I like it when I'm on a bridge that looks like it's feels like it's 150 years old. It's like begging for a tetanus shot. All right, so yeah, that's right. How does wood get a tetanus shot? Who are you talking to, Scott? I don't know. Oh man, we got broken wood here. I don't think anybody's been restoring this bridge. I can do it. I can do it. I have walked on scarier bridges than this. This is actually quite doable. I've been on bridges where there was a mudslide and the bridge was on an angle and I had to like walk on one side of it because the other half was out of the ground. All right, let's continue on. I will see you guys in just a second. Hey, we're back. So I got the trail down to the Apalachicola River, and just behind me up that hill, I don't know if you can see just where my finger is, right there. That's the Gregory House. So what a view. So all the way up there is the Gregory House. We were just up there. And now I'm looking at that right through those trees right there. That's the Apalachicola River. The Appalachia. Let's see how close we can get. That was a good view right there. Look at that. Let's see how close we can get. 1 second. 1 second. We're there. Apalachicola River. That's a biggie river. I mean, it's not the Mississippi, but you know, it's got some size. And I see some people, some neighbors right there with their nice docks. How convenient to have their boat right there at Apalachicola River. So going that way is toward the Apalachicola Bay into the Gulf of Mexico. And then you look all the way up that way. I'll take you to the Appalachian Mountains. Let's just keep going that way until we hit like Georgia and the Alabama line. And just keep going up. Eventually you'll hit Tennessee. Since water does work its way downhill, and this is about as downhill as you're going to get, and then going that way will be Gulf of Mexico. Sea level. I did hear some things splashing about when I was coming down here. Even saw a little brown skink run by me too. We saw that at Conservation Park. There are so many things that my camera can't catch fast enough because they're running by me, but there's so much life here. It's like I can only just talk about some of it. There's just so much we wouldn't have time. Gonna find a lot of life near a large river source like this. So what's really cool about a river like this, there's a lot of endemic species here. So right now Fish and Wildlife is working on trying to save a few species along the Apalachicola River, including the flatwoods salamander, or the frosted flatwoods salamander. So really cool little salamander. It's not doing too good, and they live just along the east side of Apalachicola River. Like, they don't live on that side. They're only on like this side, and they only go up and down a few counties, maybe from like Georgia line down to here. So this is a very endemic area. We have endemic Torreya Pine. We have actually in this area going toward Apalachicola National Forest, heading south, some of the snakes start becoming extremely endemic. Like we have the Apalachicola king snake, also known as the blotch king snake. So we have some endemic stuff here. Endemic stuff, yeah. We have some endemic stuff. It's like, you know, cool. No, it's just really interesting species. How this valley, this river valley on this side, things evolved different than stuff on that side. So you'll have certain snakes that right up to that point have a certain locality look, and then on this side they did their own thing. They evolved their own locality. So because for a lot of animals crossing a large river source like this, they just don't do it. They're not sharing genes. So how DNA gets exchanged from populations. So this acts as a landmark barrier between certain species. And on this east side, in the eastern time zone, you're getting certain species that can only be found anywhere else. They have a lot of very closely related cousins, and some that look very closely related, but they have been given their own Latin. They typically have a subspecies third name. So yada, yada, and then that final third name, which gives it the subspecies. Just really interesting stuff. So we're kind of in a special, unique area. If you're looking at like endemic, isolated populations of certain species. And that Torreya Pine that we're going to go look at in a second, that's a great example of it. So what was going on here for hundreds of years, thousands of years, that this little pocket was special for evolution, for certain things to go about their own way while their cousins on the other side of the river or up near the mountains or wherever it may be, we're staying in a more larger look in their locality, in gene swapping. So I just think it's interesting. So you'll find, and that's a good example of what happens on islands. When a species gets to an island, it's going to evolve very differently from its mainland cousins, because it's isolated, and it will evolve due to those specific isolated circumstances. So the pressures that come from the natural habitat, and then evolution is the process, and then you adapt to those environmental pressures. So this is a great example of all that right here. And I think it's just really cool how straight up this hill right here, we got the river, and then straight up this hill, right up there, is the mansion. Pretty nifty. So I just thought I'd mention all that. Endemic, isolated populations. If we saw Apalachicola king snake, I would so be all over that. I'd be like, look at this awesome blotched king snake. It's very cool. They have a very pretty look compared to the Florida king snake or the eastern king snake or the Brooks king snake. And so definitely can talk about snakes. Definitely can talk about frogs and insects. I mean, I could talk about the mammals and birds, but we just haven't been seeing a whole lot. And really, when you look at mammals compared to like fish, there's very few mammals compared to fish. There's twice as many birds as there are mammals in the whole world. So it's just, you know, more than twice. So it's, if we have a cool mouse or rat walk by us, we'll definitely talk about it. Okay, better save my battery. It's starting to turn yellow. Well, we're at the Gregory house. Let's go check out that Torreya Pine, shall we? There's the Gregory house. Right up there. Apalachicola River. We were right down here along there on the edge. I was right next to that bald cypress. Here's the backyard for the Gregory house. Look at that. Not too shabby. I think I just saw the park ranger taking in some guests. I'm okay. I don't need to go check it out. Mainly because I stink to high heaven. I've been sweating all day. Very beautiful. I can't believe that's 107 years old. Wow. And then I got a sign over here. I love signs. So, the resilience of recovery. Oh, this is the sign I saw over at the other area about how the canopy used to look. And then this is what it looked like after Hurricane Michael. See the huge difference? Hurricane Michael, Category 5 storm. My family lived through this. So, and this old house, built in 1849, look at that. It held up. They don't build them like that anymore, like they used to. See how we talked about how all the longleaf pines were bent in the same direction? Because when the hurricane was spinning and came up, the top wind pushes down. It's actually spinning, putting the force down. So all the pine trees are facing southward. As the wind was coming, it was snapping things down as it was spinning up and going into Georgia. Pretend this is Georgia. So the hurricane came in, was doing that clockwise. And the clockwise motion is pushing all the trees in one direction. So, hurricane is pretty for real. I got another sign here. I love signs. Can't go wrong with signs. Hammock landing battery. Ooh. Look at all that. Each gun emplacement was separated by a powder magazine. This has got an archaeological site. Ooh, so this is going back to the Civil War. Federal ships from ascending the Apalachicola Confederates constructed 6 gun batteries. There were Confederate placements here. Wow. 1863. Confederate troops stationed. Small battery located. Wow. Just in case the federal troops, the Union troops came up. So here's Apalachicola Bay, all the way up the river. We're way up here. Wait. I think. Hold on. Yeah, that's Apalachicola River. Oh, that's okay. I know that's okay. But anyway, so they were putting these placements here in case the Union troops came around Florida and worked their way up. Here we go. Fort Gadsden. Gotcha. Very cool. Wow. So we've got the 1849 home. We got the Civil War battery placements that used to be here. Plus we got the conservational consideration of the very endangered Torreya Pine. Let's go check that out, shall we? Let's do that. everybody. Here's the Gregory house. Welcome back, everybody. So we are right next to the Torreya Pine. I'm going to do a nice pull-off shot of the Gregory house because I just think it's really beautiful. You know, it's not over the top. I could see a preacher and his family living there. Totally do. Okay. So they got a great front yard. Plenty of soccer playing, football playing, mowing room. That is a decent front yard, if I have to say so. So we are going to finish this episode with a critically endangered plant, a tree. Now, if you're expecting some ginormous tree, I'm sorry to have let you down, but we're dealing with this. This is the Torreya Pine. Now, they have a few of them here. This is one of the taller ones. It's right out front. I saw a couple of them that were maybe this tall. So do you see the leaves here? You see how they're similar to in the yew family? And if you ever see a yew bush, they're commonly used for decorating in front of homes. You'll see the little red seeds inside your bush. That's in the yew family. But this is a whole genus of Torreya. Now this is Torreya taxifolia, and the reason I know that right off the top of my head is because there's a sign right behind us that talks about this. So this species is only here. Like if you saw the map of the locality of this, it's not big. Actually, I happen to have the map, so I want you to look right here on my phone. If you can see Florida, do you see that little green sliver right there above my thumb? That's where we are in the Panhandle. It barely goes into southern Georgia. So this species is very limited in its range, and it's here at this park where this park gets its name. Now let's get some key facts about this plant. It's got a bunch of nicknames. This species is known as like the stinking cedar or the gopher wood, but it is very endangered, critically endangered. Or the Florida nutmeg. It's got a lot of nicknames, but the Torreya pine, that's pretty self-explanatory. There are a couple of relatives, like in China, Japan, and California, that are in the Torreya genus. And actually, some of my apps said that they thought this was the California version. But we know that this is the Florida version. This is the taxifolia. But it's because it's so endemic, it probably looks just like the California yew. And many databases are probably thinking it's the Torreya from California. But this is it, folks. This is a critically endangered plant that we got right in front of us. And this needs to be protected. Now, some of my research showed was due to loss of habitat, deforestation, and some other factors, including a rising deer population, which is not, deer has been running rampant in the United States for years, decades and centuries, because we knocked down most of their natural predators, your wolves and eastern mountain lions and species that kept the white deer in check. Well, white deer with their antlers come up to this plant and they scrape it with their antlers, and it can cause enough stress to the plant that it dies. So there's a couple factors leading to the decline of this plant, and it's one of the first plants ever to make its way onto the Endangered Species Act back in 1984. So I just think that's amazing. Then I have that right here within driving distance. Can't beat that. So we've got this guy right here, right in front of the Gregory home, and then we have a second one right here. That's also a Torreya pine. It looks like it's in the yew family. You can tell by the leaves. Definitely looks like a yew. I got some Spanish moss hanging off of it right here. Now check this out. Look at this absolutely awesome sign. I love seeing these old Florida State Park signs. Bingo, folks, the Torreya tree. So here we go. Torreya taxifolia. This speaks about the botanist that discovered it and how it was named after John Torreya, who was a prominent botanist. So very cool stuff. I just think it's amazing. You got this conservational side of things. There's your yew. Here's your endangered yew species, the Torreya, Florida Torreya. Then you got the history of the house. Then you got the history, they said over here and down the river was Confederate placement. So that goes back to the Civil War. You know, down the river, there's a whole economy living off of oysters and trying to feed the world with oysters and fish and crawdad. It's just a lot going on in this park. Plus the trails. The trails are not bad here. They're very, very good. There's one trail I didn't even go on. It was called the arduous six-hour loop. I didn't want to do that. So that's it, folks. We're here. This is it. I think it's amazing. Critically endangered plant. And you know, you might be in an area in the United States or around the world, and you might not even realize that you have a critically endangered plant in your own county or your own area, whatever. You might not be living in a county. But that's it. We did it. That we saw the Torreya Pine today. This guy right here. Mission accomplished. So I have a whole lot of species I'm going to load up on here. We saw a lot of plants today. I mean, we saw American Beech. We saw 2 different types of magnolia. We saw lots of spiders, lots of little small flowering bushes. Even saw the big Lubber grasshopper. So you go out on these adventures and you never know what you're going to see. Probably going to see some plants. They don't move a whole lot. But I just love coming to these places with the historical aspect of it. We've got, you know, all the history. So we don't know which one we're going to get on the adventure, but we knew we were going to try to find the Torreya Pine. We did that, and then everything else was just sugar. It was just icing on the cake. So cake is good once in a while. Anyway, sidebar. Okay. So need to lay off the cake. Anyway, so thank you for coming on this adventure. We have another one coming up soon. It'll be a surprise. I have one cooking in the back of my head. Get out of your house. You have a park near you. Go explore. Go do something out in the wild, in nature. Explore. See what you can find. You might find something new. Thank you. If you don't mind subscribing, pushing the subscribe button and the like button. If you like this video, thank you so much. I will catch you on the next episode of the adventures of Scotty Armstrong. All right. Thanks. That's a big spider. I just love the gold silk orb weaver spider. It's just phenomenal. It's glorious. Glorious! That we saw this over at Conservation Park, but this is close-up city here. Oh, there we go. There's our shot, folks. Right there. Look at the pattern on the back of that abdomen. Very cool. I mean, glorious. I've been saying cool all morning. It's glorious. All right. You see the green anole ahead of us? Just nailed a bug. That's a green anole. It's like a girl. Got a little bug in its mouth. Sitting right on some sweet goldenrod. Cool, we've got like 3 species all in one shot. I think it's munching up like a hornet. Look at that. Or ant or hornet. I can't get a good look at it. It's being crunched up in its mouth. Well, there's our great highlight of the green anole in its splendor. Anolis carolinus. If I can get my camera to focus. Alright, well, that was cool. Wasn't expecting to watch an anole munch on goldenrod. That's cool. Okie dokie. Here we go.